Hello everyone. Today we will explore an essential part of academic research, which is the theoretical framework. When conducting research, we don't just collect and analyze data randomly. Instead, we rely on established theories to guide our study. This theory help us understand why a problem exists and how different factors relate to each other. What is theoretical framework? A theoretical framework is a foundation of a research study. It consists of existing theories and models that explain the research problem. Imagine you are constructing a building. Before laying the bricks, you need a strong foundation. Similarly, a research study needs a theoretical framework to provide structure that support the study's finding. For example, let's say you are researching how reading comprehension strategies affect students' academic performance. You can't just make assumptions, right? You need a theory to back up your research. In this case, you might use cognitive learning theory, which explains how students process and retain information. Or reading acquisition models. This describes how students develop their reading skills. These theories will help you interpret your findings and explain why certain strategies improve comprehension. What is the importance of theoretical framework? According to Reyes 2004, a theoretical framework is based on observed phenomena and scholarly thinking. This means it helps first connect your research to existing knowledge. This ensures your study is meaningful. Second, help define study variables. This helps you focus on specific factors in your study. Third, provide a framework for data analysis. And guide data analysis by providing a structured way to interpret results. And of course, support research justification by giving your study an academic credibility. As Garcia 2003 points out, a theoretical framework is especially important in descriptive and experimental research because it helps researchers clearly define their study's scope and purpose. Now let's proceed to the steps in developing a theoretical framework. In developing a strong theoretical framework, it requires a careful planning. According to the University of South Carolina, researchers should follow 6 key steps. The first step is examine the research problem. Examine the research problem and thesis title. Before selecting theories, you need to understand the problem you are studying. Ask yourself what issues am I trying to address? What are the main questions my research seeks to answer? Or what are the key themes of my study? For example, if your study is about how online learning affects students' motivation, the key themes could be online learning platform, student engagement and motivation, self-paced versus structured learning environments. In step 2, brainstorm key variables. A research study often involves independent and dependent variables. Independent variable is the factor you manipulate or observe, and dependent variable is the factor that changes as a result of the independent variable. For example, you got a research title, the impact of gamified learning on student performance. Example. So the independent variable for that is gamified learning methods. For example, quizzes, points, and reward system. And for the dependent variable naman is students' performance. For example, the test scores, participation rates, and etc. So that's the step 2. So the third step is review related literature. So before selecting a jury, review past study and existing literature about your topic. So this helps you identify what has already been studied, understand the gaps in the research, and find relevant juries that supports your studies. For example, if you are studying about reading comprehension strategies, you might review in previous studies on active reading techniques or research on cognitive development in reading. So that's for step 3. Now for step 4, list construct and variable. So a construct is a concept that is not directly measurable but can be defined and studied using different indicators. For example, motivation in learning. So intrinsic motivation is student studies because they enjoy learning. And in extrinsic motivation, a student studies to earn rewards or avoid punishment. So that's the step 4. So in step 5, review relevant juries. So now that you have defined your research problem, variables, and literature, select the most relevant juries. So example juries for different research topic. If your research topic is about student motivation, the relevant juries that can help that topic is Maslow's hierarchy of needs, self-determination jury. If your topic is about social media and learning, so the relevant jury that can help that is social learning jury and media richness jury. And if it's about customer satisfaction, the relevant jury is for expectation confirmation jury and customer satisfaction model. Lastly, step 6, discuss assumptions and propositions. So, every jury is based on assumptions or statements that researchers accept as true for the sake of argument. For example, cognitive load jury assumes that too much information at once can reduce learning efficiency. And in social learning theory, assumes that people learn through observation and imitation. So that is it, step 6. Now let's proceed to the application of theoretical framework in research. So for example, in a study on exploring the impact of reading comprehension strategies on student academic performance. So the theoretical framework would focus on cognitive learning theories, reading acquisition models, and educational psychology principles. So the study would define key variables such as the use of specific reading strategies and their effect on comprehension and retention. So by applying the theoretical framework, the research would establish a structured approach to analyzing how different reading techniques influence students' understanding and academic success. Now let's proceed to the application of theoretical framework in research. So for example, in a study on exploring the impact of reading comprehension strategies on student academic performance. So the theoretical framework would focus on cognitive learning theories, reading acquisition models, and educational psychology principles. So the study would define key variables such as the use of specific reading strategies and their effect on comprehension and retention. So By applying the theoretical framework, the research would establish a structured approach to analyzing how different reading techniques influence students' understanding and academic success. So, in conclusion, the theoretical framework is a vital component of research because it provides structures and justification for the study, defines key variables and their relationship, guide data analysis based on established theories, and strengthen research credibility by linking it to previous studies. So, by carefully selecting and applying theories, researchers ensure their studies are well supported, meaningful, and academically sound. So, a strong theoretical framework is like a roadmap. So, it helps researchers stay on track and ensures that their findings contribute valuable insights to their field.